I'm Alli. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melissa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles. Happy New Year.
Yay.
Jinx.
We made it.
We made it. And we skipped a week. We never do that.
We never do that.
I know.
But honestly, I have felt so chaotic the past 2 weeks. It's like having these holidays fall on what was it, Mondays?
Right.
Just threw off my whole entire schedule.
But you know what, in the future, what we should do, and I just am thinking of this now, is we should post like a past episode that's like one that we thought was good.
Yeah. And that would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
If we'd had our wits about ourselves.
But we don't ever.
Today was the first day that I woke up and I don't know how long and was like, today is Saturday. And I can say that with confidence. And I know it's
right.
Saturday.
I never know. I should say too, one of our listeners offered to help with our website. And I know you know this, but I followed up with her and she followed up with me, and next week we're going to talk, and I'd love for you to be part of it. But if we know nothing, and I'm kind of going to just say to her, if she's listening, that you just tell us. We have no idea what we're doing. We're not, and we don't have time to learn it. If I had time to put into it, I would, but I don't. Mm-hmm. And I know she knows this world, so I'm hoping she'll just say, we're going to do the low-hanging fruit, X, Y, and Z, and at least get it operable. Because I hate that website sits there and has no attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if anyone has ideas for stuff that they would like to see on our website, please let us know.
I noticed, you can get a transcript. I just saw this with Zoom. There's a feature on here where you can have AI essentially create the pod, and then people can ask questions regarding the transcript, and it will find the answer. And I thought that was really, really cool, because that's for meetings in general, work meetings, how great to just have a transcript that people can fire away questions at.
Well, and we get that a lot. We get emails that say, if you covered this, I'm not seeing it. And it's we have covered it. And I'm I don't know what episode that was.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it once upon a time, but
right.
It's hard. It's funny, how many episodes we've done at this point and how much you forget that we've talked about.
I know.
It reminds me of being a reporter, and I used to do stories every day, and I'd be invested in that story that day for a full day.
Yeah.
And now going back, I'll be I have zero memory of covering that story whatsoever.
Yeah. It's you just pushed it out. There's not room, so it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, totally. I think that's the problem with our education system in general.
Right.
So, a whole
There's
other
too
topic.
Much information.
Exactly.
I know, right?
It's a whole other topic. These kids memorize a whole shitload of stuff and then it's out.
Yeah.
So,
I used to know the Gettysburg Address. Why?
Right. That took up space that you could have been learning something far more important.
How to do my tax.
Right. Exactly. The tax thing, I'm not going to go on a whole tangent on this, but I file early, not early, but I'll start probably this month. Mine will be ready to go at some point. But I met this woman who has a similar, she has a business, but she also is a little bit into real estate. And she was telling me all these things about how she does her taxes around real estate. And it was I hadn't heard any of this. And I'm thinking, if you don't know these things, as far as how you file, how you, do certain parts of it, you miss out on so many opportunities. And it's not even you're gaming the system. These are legal things that you do the right way. And this is why poor people just stay poor, because there's no way they have advice like this.
I was just thinking about this yesterday.
Really?
Because I was the billionaires, they have access to the people to find the loopholes.
They find, and even if it's not a loophole, even if it's right.
The regular people that are being, taxed don't know about all this stuff.
And forget even the loophole. I'm talking about real, the law. It's not even, my tax person is phenomenal, but they don't like look for every opportunity to, I mean, he's doing 1,000 people's taxes. And so it's like, I just was so appreciative. I mean, she sat there and then she was like, here's my card. Like, I can tell you exactly how to do all of it. Even the way that I have like the way I have stuff structured in my, like, nobody advised me really. I mean, I just kind of read something and then I do it that way. And she was like, you're doing it so stupid.
You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it so stupid and so wrong. Like, I can't. She's like, literally, I want to. Like, I'm wanting to help you because you're wasting so much money. So I just felt so appreciative about that because I'm sure that's true in every sector of my life.
Well, and that kind of brings us to what we were going to talk about. Is that you have gone back to therapy and
I've gone back to therapy.
Therapist.
Yeah, to Melissa Olson, who I love, who is our group leader, who hasn't seen me in years, really. I mean, she came on our show, but she didn't see me about me. Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting. Like, first of all, one thing that she said that made me feel so good is she's like, I feel how different you are. Like, you're not the same woman I met like 6 years ago or 5 years, however
awesome.
Long. Yeah. She's like, you're so different now. And I feel that I am different now, but she, so I'm back and she hasn't changed one bit. Like, she's still the same, like, reassuring, points you in the right direction. Like, she's just a good compass of what's right for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But one of the points that you said that she made was like about how like you want answers.
I want answers now.
I feel like most of us want that.
Yeah.
We don't have the patience to sit and wait for the like what's going to happen.
Right. And I would sometimes rather have bad news, but have the news than wait around for the possibility of good news. Like, that's something terrible about me. Like, I want to know. Like, I'd rather just, my sense of urgency around that is massive. And I think she reminded me that like that's how you were before. That's one of the things that haven't changed. But she's like, nothing is so binary. Like, it's not like you have to say like, okay, I'm either going to do this or this, and that's just the way what do I do? What do I do, Melissa? It's not. She's like, stop, because clarity takes time. It reveals itself throughout weeks, months, years, and you can't rush that. It's like you have to go through these individual lessons that then lead you to the clarity that you're looking for. Even if it's there all along, maybe, but you just have to like uncover it gradually, and then a picture is revealed, and then you know the way to go. And I think that's so true.
I think that's really resonates for a lot of people in like so many aspects of your life. And like, so that's why I've always heard the term "don't wish your life away." I say that to my kids,
I know.
You know, like, because they don't want to be in school right now. They want it to be summer, and like, it's so easy to get caught up in like waiting for that thing to happen, waiting for that good thing that you're, to see if that change takes place. It's like, what do you do in the meantime?
Right.
You don't just sit and wait.
No.
You know, do nothing.
Right. It's so true. It's like you're, that's such a good point, is it's like you're waiting to be in that relationship, to be in that, finally when we buy the house, things are going to get better. Or finally when we get in this, you know, I'm not dating anymore.
When I finally come out, when I finally,
you're right.
Like, everything will fall into place then. Like, I have felt so many times, like, I just wish I could Google it. You know? Like,
same.
I want to Google and see what's going to happen.
Right.
Like, that's the one thing you can't Google. Like, none of us knows what's happening.
Right.
Like, we all want to know that we're going to be okay and it's going to fall into place.
It's true. And it's just like she's very calming and very much not the sense of urgency at all. Like, sometimes I feel like she's so patient with the process. And I remember her saying to both of us, like, there's no rush. You do it on your timeline. And you and I would look at each other like, God damn it. Like, we want to do it now, though. Like,
I know.
We want.
Yeah.
And I think she's so right, though. Like, there's no, like, you need to just sit in whatever's going on. I'm going through a lot of changes in my own life, and like being patient with that process so that you can come out the other side with what's right for you.
Yeah. I think if I could go back and do my whole coming out process again,
what would you do different?
I would have slowed it down.
Say more.
Well, I probably would have also taken out the equation of having the girlfriend that was in my life when we were separated. But that's like hindsight's 2020, right?
Is that about her, or is that about her personality being so pushy?
That's about her yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, her personality being so pushy. And I think I wish I could have had the presence of mind to just be in my own space alone. You know, like no input from either party, from him, from the woman I was seeing, from my friends, like really taken more time to sit in my own thoughts.
How would it have looked different had you done that?
I think it would have just brought me more peace and calm in the process, you know? And because like I've said, I've had to kind of mourn it on the back end because everything was so go, go, go during that time. Like, we got to make a decision. We got to figure this out. We're separating. We're nest parenting. We're doing all this. That's not working. Now try this. And then suddenly we were divorced.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I had to mourn the whole thing on the back end because I didn't take the time to slow it down.
Right. That's interesting. Do you think it would have been different if you were with a more patient partner?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. But I also have to factor in that, like, where he was coming into play as far as like what he wanted to do. And I think once he did realize that, like, oh wait, she's gay, like there's no changing this. He was kind of able to like separate himself.
Do you ever say to yourself though, like, because like sometimes one of the things that Melissa Olson, the therapist, brought up to me on our session was that like you don't always like what's valuable to you at one point in your life. Like everybody has a different set of things that are super important to them. And like back then I was like, gay. Yeah, I'm gay. We can't be together because I'm gay. It's never going to work. And then it's like, okay, other people say that they may be gay too, but maybe it's more important for them to stay in this marriage with this super solid person, have the dad for these kids, and like, we're going to stay together. And that's more valuable to them than living this quote unquote, because it's also authentic that I'm a very secure, I want safety, I want predictability. Maybe that's their set of values that's more important than this other. What's to say sexuality is more important than these other values?
Yeah. Well, and I think that varies from person to person. There's a lot of people out there that are staying married and living like polyamorous lives.
Could you stay married and not even live a poly? Like you just stay married and you
stay married and just know that in your heart? I mean, I guess there's probably people that do that.
And to the point of like, you're a married man is attracted to probably 10 different women a day that aren't his wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like how is that different?
Yeah. Well, for me personally, it was different because I was like, I never got to experience that. And it definitely felt like something like finally realizing who I was and finally understanding why I didn't feel comfortable in my life and being like, I can't bypass living this part of my life.
I need to do this.
I need to do this.
Right.
And I need to be true to myself. Yeah, I could have stayed, but I really think I would have been a shell of a human.
Or maybe even had regret, like wondering so much what it could have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I would have gotten here eventually.
Right.
I guess is my whole point. I wish I could have slowed it down just so I could have processed it in my brain. Because my process was realizing I was gay or thinking I was gay. And that whole thing was like 16 to my divorce was 16 months.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell?
That's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know it's like, think how many big decisions that you like sit with for a long time that then, I don't know, like that does feel like rapid fire. I was in the same boat. I did it right with you, but I'm just like, wow, it isn't like when you think about 16 months, that's nothing. That's like, it's nothing.
Right.
At least I had the benefit of years of feeling this way from childhood.
Right.
You really didn't have that.
I did not.
Yeah. So it's like, God.
I had the thought pop up here and there and it lasted for maybe 10 minutes.
Right.
And then I'd be like, no way. And then it wasn't until 2016 that the thought wouldn't go away. But I just thought it was a fantasy kind of thing,
Yeah.
bringing that up to him, in no way did I think this is going to lead to us getting a divorce.
No, me neither. Me neither.
Like,
even with the knowledge I had,
I more so was like, I probably need to go to therapy for this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I need to talk this out. So, I mean, that's why I'm constantly telling people with coming out, with relationships too, it's not a fucking race.
No.
There is no prize for doing things fast here. In fact, like, there's more consequences when you do things fast.
That's true. Yeah. It's like to your detriment.
Because you're making permanent decisions.
Right.
Like, whether you're leaving your husband and getting divorced, like selling your house, moving in with someone new, not knowing them fully. Like, what is the benefit there?
Have you ever heard of the term punctuated equilibrium?
Never in my life
have
I ever heard those two words together.
Okay, this is reminding me so much, I don't know why, of like an evolution of a species. There's something called like punctuated equilibrium, where people think that, and I'm sure there's scientists out there that are listening that are going to be like, I have this wrong, but I think I have I know generally what it means, which is basically like there's long static periods of time where like a species is very stable and we look the same way. But then there's these like rapid punctuated times in history where things shift drastically for a species and then evolution continues. Like, yes, it takes millions, thousands of years. Like it's a long process, but it's not like this steady evolution as people think. There's many times like a punctuated equilibrium where it's like static, and then an event occurs, and then there's a quick evolution of a species that impacts the whole rest of the species. I'm not explaining this the best I could, but
my eyes are glazing over.
Okay, sorry. This is me, and this is why I will probably end up alone right here. But anyway, it's kind of like in your life as you evolve, like you go through these static long periods of your life, and then like something happens, some event. In the world, it might be that the water levels drop and a species is forced to adapt, and then a change occurs. But
an asteroid comes,
and there's this like thing, this event that triggers a change. And it's like, I sometimes think about that in relation to like me personally, of like, you have this long period of stasis that things don't really change, and then something happens that creates this quick, to your point, 16-month evolution, and then it's like back to stasis for, hundreds of years, or in your case, tens of years through your old age.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
I always say that. Like, I feel like the first 36 years of my life, I was like half asleep.
Totally. But it's not even. It's you were living in equilibrium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of like, this is what's happening.
Right.
Okay. Like, that's cool. We'll do this now. I wasn't really, I always hated on job interviews when they would say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I don't know where I see myself in like 5 days.
2 hours. Exactly. I could be anywhere. I mean, I could be under a dumpster. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Exactly.
That was a terrible question coming out of college. Been drunk for 4 years.
Right. It's so true. Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm here going to be a TV reporter.
But maybe that's actually really good it's good for someone like you though, because then it's like ever changing and here's a new thing.
That is very true.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that every day was different.
Yeah.
It was never boring.
No, you can be an expert for a day on some great topic.
God. Japanese tsunami happened in that nuclear event.
Yeah.
Where the nuclear power plants. And I'm sitting there, I'm writing scripts about nuclear power, and I'm like, nuclear science was not in the job description. Yet here I am trying to explain what's happened with the power system in Japan.
Do you ever watch news people? Not you, because like you look intelligent, so it's like it comes to come out of you. I would buy it. I'd be like, okay, yeah, she probably knows. But sometimes I'm watching the TV people and I can tell they're like not highly intelligent people. And they're like talking about things that take a really high level of understanding.
For sure. I mean, that's 100% been me.
I don't think it could. I think you have a good, you can do the face. I've seen you in
I can
social
pretend.
situations.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Yeah. If you watch some good news bloopers, like you can see where the anchor's mind is just blanking. Like,
Yeah, it's
on
like
whatever
cracks
it
in
is
the
they're trying to
armor. I
read.
see it.
Yeah.
I can totally tell. Or I
But, you
can,
know, as a journalist, we are told to write at an 8th grade level.
really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
like it has to be like most people have an 8th grade comprehension. Like,
Damn.
if we majority of the population.
Okay, that's
So-
interesting because my college application or my son's college application, the person who's helping him write it, and she's a brilliant writer, she said that the best writing is very, very simple.
Yeah. If you notice when you read like a newspaper, they tend to be a lot more detailed. They use bigger words, but you won't hear those same words on like a broadcast news channel.
Yeah, because the newspaper is for a more intelligent audience.
More intelligent. You're taking your time. You're sitting down to read it. You can read it over again too. You can reread the sentence.
Right, that's true. If I
On
don't
TV,
get it, yeah.
It's like what you. Well, I guess now you can rewind TV, but back in the day you couldn't. So.
It's God. I mean, I never thought about that because I listen to so much. Like I have the New York Times like Audible app, and then I also have other apps that are like just news apps for the whole population. And you're right. It's such different journalism.
And sometimes it's good for me, and sometimes it's not, because like,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm writing like a story where like we've got the James Webb Telescope that keeps seeing all this insane stuff.
Yeah, it's
on
insane.
My brain.
I know.
Can't even comprehend how it's working.
I
And
know.
I have to write a story about it that's dumbed down enough in 30 seconds
Yeah. How
to
do you?
explain the
That's
picture.
right.
Like, ugh,
I couldn't do it.
bonkers.
Even me trying to explain punctuated equilibrium.
I mean, and I'm over here like blank face.
No, but I mean, if you can't explain it well, you don't understand it well.
No, I understand what you're saying.
No, I know,
do
but what I'm saying is I clearly can't explain it well, even though I think I know what it is. I was just more applying it to our lives because it is true. Like you have these events that change everything,
Yes.
whether it's a catalyst or whether it's whatever it is.
Yeah, like something happens. That's why we say the catalyst. Something happens. It's not always a person.
No.
Sometimes it's watching a movie, you know? Something happens that sparks this in your brain and makes the change happen.
Right. And the other thing that I think is super interesting is that like our children, and especially mine that are like, I've, a daughter in college, they're very much like, it's almost like they flipped the thing, when our whole generation was like, it's not a choice. You don't get to, this is who I am. You're born this way, which I believe. I believe all that. But their generation is a little bit like, they look at the spectrum of sexuality of like, it is kind of a choice. Like, yeah, I might see women this week. Like Tate's friends are home from college. These beautiful women that were like high school girls, they're all dating women, and then they were dating men, then they might date women. And it's just Tatum's kind of like, yeah, it's however I feel. Like I might.
It's just like a fluid thing.
It's a total fluid thing. And then I'm like, so you think it's kind of a choice? And she's like, well, I'm just saying, like, I can choose to go either way. I might be attracted to, there's some band that Tate's like, I'm completely hot for the woman in this band. But I'm also hot for this guy. So it's just like, whoever, I'm going to choose what I want to do. And it might be a girl, it might be a guy, it might be no one.
I think that's interesting because that's bisexuality.
It is, but it's like, I wonder if like what we're all missing is bisexuality is the default.
Yeah.
It's like, what if...
it's kind of like you said, like no woman is truly straight.
That's it.
Like,
and so it's like, what if...
woman could be convinced
Right.
at some point.
So what if like light bulb moment, bisexuality is the default and anything else is the what you choose beyond that default, but we're all born bisexual to some extent. And
like,
then
all the outside factors,
you got it.
society,
Yes.
and norms and all this stuff.
Yeah. So like scientifically, she would say that's true. Or she would say, okay, maybe, you get to decide for you, but for me and my 100 girlfriends, that's the truth. Like we don't know. I don't have one friend who would say, I only like men.
So if we continue to evolve as humans,
Right.
everyone will be back.
You got it.
And it'll just be one happy family.
I mean, this is not based on anything except for just observation. It's just a hypothesis based on observation of college kids and like what their norm is. Yeah.
Well, I think you're right, though. I think like that generation is so much more open-minded. And even I said on our episode with Teddy, I feel like there was like this little pocket of the 90s where bisexuality was cool.
Right.
And then it like shifted away from that, I feel like.
Is it possible that it gets thrown out with like the powers that are in place at the time? Like, are we in an environment where it's acceptable to be bisexual? Like, who was the president then?
That was like Clinton era. Yeah. I mean,
and Clinton wasn't necessarily
amazing. Were out the window.
Well, but he wasn't necessarily amazing to the gays.
No. Remember, it was progressive that he signed "Don't Ask Them."
You got it. Yeah,
like that was considered being friendly to the gay people.
God, it's like tolerate me and all, and it's breadcrumbs. It's like, oh my God.
And I remember thinking that it made sense at the time.
It made sense at the time until it didn't. And then it was like, I remember also when I thought I was debating with my military cousin and like thinking, you're such a fucking dick. Like, how dare you think this is okay for gay people? And this is when I was a staunch ally.
Yeah. Yes. You never really watched The Real World on MTV, but there was a season where they were in New Orleans and there was a gay guy on there and his boyfriend was in the military.
Okay.
And like I think they were using like a fake name for him. When he came to visit, they blurred out his face and he was like so worried he was going to get kicked out of the military.
Oh boy.
And this was like, I want to say this aired sometime between like 99 to like 2001. So, but this, I mean, it was so weird to me. And I remember thinking like, that's really terrible that they have to like sneak around like this.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is. That's how the military is. And that guy was like so terrified because he's going to fuck up his whole career.
Yeah. And it's just like, how is that a thing? How is that even humanly possible?
Right.
It's like that. But think how short of a time ago that was.
I know. It really was not that long ago.
No.
And then I think it was overturned by Obama, right?
Yeah.
And I remember then thinking like, oh yeah, why did we think this was a good idea?
Yeah, no, same. Like, wait, what?
What?
Yeah, that's really funny. It's true though. Like, what is that about?
Our brains like evolve, but I think it's also just like society, like what's happening around us,
right,
forms our opinions.
And it's if that's true, what she's saying, which is that it's a choice in her mind, which at first, of course, I was like debating her, like people fought hard, Tate, for that choice, and you're born this way. But Tate's like, okay, like whatever. Okay, we're all born bisexual, in my opinion. Like to her, it's like you're not born gay or straight. You're not like, oh, your mom won't let you be gay and you were born gay. We're all born this way.
But I think I could understand that, like, yes, bi being like the default, but then there is like, for me, like, I'm not going back,
Right.
And I think there's a lot of women that's like, the women that have never slept with a man, like it's never been on their radar.
But is it like they're not on their radar because maybe they fall more? It's like, yeah, I like vanilla ice cream more than I like strawberry ice cream, so I'm going to eat more vanilla. But if you give me strawberry, I might have some strawberry.
No, I think there's some people that are like dead set, like no way.
Yeah.
It's never been. There's a lot of people like that.
And I guess too, like,
the people that know when they're like 8 years old,
Right. Like maybe, yeah. Or maybe it's like, they're so far on that spectrum of.
Right. I think that's another thing I was going to say. With it being a spectrum of sexuality, like there's a test like that online where you can kind of like see where you fall on like the spectrum of sexuality. I'm forgetting the name of it.
Like a scientific one or like one that you and I would throw out there?
No, it's not like a BuzzFeed test.
Okay. It's just interesting too how like this generation doesn't even like these kids they think it's annoying even that we have these conversations.
It's the Kinsey scale.
The Kinsey scale, of course. Yeah.
And I think that's just it. There's the Kinsey scale of sexuality. But what Tatum is saying is that she feels that bisexuality is default. And then there's the spectrum factor.
Yeah, it's like you could go anywhere on the spectrum, but it's just where you're going to fall on the spectrum and how you're raised might push you one way or the other on the spectrum. when you're born, likely there is no, like you probably could have gone either way, which kind of lends itself to, as the generations go on, it'll be interesting to see if that 10% of people are gay really is more like 30 to 35%.
I believe it. Like, because I feel like those kind of surveys are so skewed because you never, like, if someone's asking you that question, like, and you don't know the basis of it, who it's coming from, like, and whether you're safe to answer it, who were you with at the time, all this stuff plays into it, into how you answer.
It's true.
So I've always felt like those results were super wrong.
Yeah, right. And it's like, are you gay? Well, if gay, I remember I had a therapist once who said it's not really a sexual question. It's more around like how you live your life. You might feel inside that you'd want to sleep with women, but you live your life in a hetero way. You wouldn't necessarily be called gay. You don't, your lifestyle is not gay, and that gay is a term that describes your lifestyle.
Yeah. And people will say that, like, oh, it's sort of gay lifestyle, whatever. I also want to add an asterisk to this conversation that we are just spitballing shit out there.
Yeah.
We are theorizing, whatever. This is not meant to be any like hardline facts.
No. And are there any hardline facts?
Right. Exactly. I feel like this is a continuing debate.
Right.
For years and years and years.
Right.
And we are just doing that. So,
and I'm from the generation of it really isn't a choice how you feel, like how you express yourself. Like, I don't think that is a choice. Like, I think I have these feelings from when I was little because I was born this way.
Right.
But
same.
I think the person who would counter that would say, yeah, you were born this way, but so is everybody. Like, they're all born somewhere along that line.
I don't know. I think there is a lot of pressure on girls to be girls, to find boyfriends, it's kind of
that whole, every movie I watched was the girl trying to get the guy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, even in my own life, I watch my children. I can tell you right now, like, I watched a daughter who's fiercely independent and smart and all the things, and she still would get bogged down with the male gaze, the male attention, the male like interpretation. Oh, yeah. Whereas my son, who's 12, now I won't bring up Owen because he's gay, but my son who's 12, he does not give a shit about, he's playing video games and the girls are watching him play. And I'm literally like, they're on FaceTime or whatever, watching him play video games. I walked in, I'm like, this is insanity. What? Yeah. You're going to just sit there. You're not even talking to her.
God.
Like, I can't stand it. I literally can't stand it. And but it's just like, he's so empowered to behave this way.
Some girls, like, I was talking to Kaylin the other day. She's going to middle school in the fall. And I'm just like, okay, like, things are about to change big time once you hit middle school. Like, people are going to start caring about who's popular and like, what clothes you're wearing and who's dating who and all this stuff. And it's just like, you don't have to do any of it. Don't catch on to like the whole thing and feel like it's some pressurized situation where you've got to find a boyfriend. It's like, do that when you want. You have your whole life. And like, thankfully she feels that way.
But why is it? But see, stop. Why is that her issue? It's like, that's the conversation I would have had with Tatum. But it's like, my boy, it's like, he doesn't even need the conversation. Society already told him he doesn't need to have
society already told it.
But that's like such fucking bullshit.
It is for sure.
I can't stand it. Like, I literally can't stand it. And even to watch, if Tatum gets a little hung up on it, then it's like, there's hope for no one. I mean, that's truly how I feel. Like, I don't know who's going to get by without this.
I mean, it's like part of the trends of what we see over the years. Like, that never changes. Finding the male gaze, that trend is always there. Like, girls will always want that. And I don't know if it's just inherent in our beings.
I think it's societal.
There's that hype right now with the Stanley Cups.
Okay, right? I don't know anything about this.
How do you not know this?
No. Tell me.
Okay. Last year or 2 years ago, it was the Hydro Cup.
Stanley Cup. Okay. I thought you meant the hockey award.
Hockey.
Okay,
that is the same thing.
Okay.
Jesus. Didn't even think about that. Okay, a couple of years ago, the Hydro Flask. That's what everybody wanted.
Yeah.
That was the cool water bottle to have.
Yep.
These are pretty pricey. And then I think before that it was the Yeti.
Yep.
Right. Now it's the Stanley.
Okay.
And people are like literally waiting outside in lines to get these outside of Target.
Okay.
And it's a fashion thing. It's like
So
the
weird.
cool status cup to have.
Right.
And it's like there's always going to be something playing out in the world that like, and it's always girls too. Like you don't see boys obsessing over like,
right.
I need UGG boots.
No, never. In fact,
know?
it's like the worse he looks, the better he thinks he looks. I'm not kidding.
That
it's
is
like
so true. No,
yeah,
it is.
It's like he's got these sweatpants on with holes in them. His hair's a mess. I'm like, I can't even like, and the more he does that, the more they want him.
Yeah.
I literally
like,
can't stand
girls
it.
versus boys. Like it's such a vast difference in their level of like what they care about.
Right. And even like Tatum pointed out she's like, also like women go to these places for refuge from men, like throughout history, like women have come together in places like hair salons, nail salons, that there's gossip and women talking. And it's like this safe space for women. But she's like, it's so ironic that it's like, this is the safe space for women that we're also kind of doing to look beautiful in society. So she's like, you can't escape it. It's like, even when it's like our safe space, it's not safe.
I do feel like sometimes though, like the choices that women are making in their appearance, it is for other women.
It is for other women. That is true. Women. Right.
Like having the Stanley Cup. Now I'm picturing the trophy.
The Stanley Cup. I was like, what's happening with the Stanley Cup? And I know nothing about sports. So I'm like, it must have been on ESPN and I missed it.
Oh my God. It must have been on ESPN that I haven't watched in 10 years.
No, exactly. That must be what it is.
Oh my God.
No, it is. It is too for women, but it's also just like, my boys don't ask me for the same
your boy's
shit.
Christmas list probably consisted of like a Minecraft gift card or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the girls, it's like Stanley Cup. And
the Stanley Cup. I don't know though if like my girl is now like she's a little bit angsty at society for creating this bullshit. So now she's like taking it to another extreme of like there's zero shaving happening. There's like she shops at thrift stores. Her clothes are so baggy. Like there's no attempt. She doesn't wear any makeup. Rarely. So it's like,
but then she's cool too. Like it's like
she is, but I think she has. It took a long time, and I think, maybe, but it's also like she still feels the pressure. She still is, cares about the boy in a way that my boy does not give a shit what happens.
Yeah. Well, just wait. He'll be wanting like hair gel or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Polo shirts.
I hope he does, because I'm like, God, you look homeless.
That is like the little boy aesthetic. Like,
I know.
10 to like 16, I think.
I know.
It's like homeless.
It's like a homeless, greasy.
And shorts year round.
I can't take
White Crocs.
I cannot take it. The sweatpants, the t-shirts that are way too big, the Crocs with the socks.
All right. Well,
have we solved all the world's problems?
I don't know that we have. If anything, we might get some angry.
This was so random, but can we take it to the Love Lounge?
Let's take it to the Love Lounge.
Because I'm really into this segment.
Yes, we have a clip from the Love Lounge. So take a listen.
Hello, my name is Megan. I live on an island north of Seattle. I enjoy hiking, doing DIY projects, playing on the beach, being on the water, and exploring with my son. I like back roads, rivers, crashing waves, yoga, and meditation. I have a professional job in tech, and I'm looking for a true partner. I'm looking for a compassionate, accomplished woman where we can figure out a new life to build together. I want us to catch each other when we fall, cry, and sing at the top of our lungs. I can't do controlling people. And my Instagram handle is Heinz Orcus. HEINZORCAS. Thanks.
Wow, I love that one.
I do too. She knows what she wants.
I know. And so that was a really good example of the Love Lounge pitch, because to me, it's like I'm pretty clear on who Megan is.
Yeah.
With this. She talked about what she doesn't like, what she does like, what she's interested. It sounds like I can tell she's pretty into nature. She lives in a really beautiful place. Her handle even, did I hear it has the word orcas in it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's very cool. I think that makes her super interesting. So if they want to get in touch with her, basically they can DM Megan on Instagram, and then find her that way. I don't know if she's private or public, but you can message someone even if they're private.
She's private, but
okay.
I think if you just send her a follow and she can accept, and you guys can exchange messages.
Very cool.
So
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if anybody wants to be part of the Love Lounge, please do the same thing. Shoot us a message on our Gmail account. And if I don't know how to do it on an Android, but I'm sure that Androids are better than iPhones. Let's be honest.
I know.
If you have an audio feature on there where a voice memo, whatever, that's how you record it. Just do a minute, 2 minutes describing yourself just like Megan did, and giving a way to get in contact with you, and send it to our Gmail account, and we'll include you on the Love Lounge.
I love it. And then maybe when we get our website up and running, we could have a place on there where people can put their thing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. As always, a pleasure. And I get to see you later today in a social situation.
Right? I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Boya's birthday.
I'm kind of 2 for 2 now. Actually, I'm 3 for 3.
It's very true.
I went to Second Friday. I saw you last weekend.
Yeah.
Albeit with some tears. And now I'm going to see you this weekend.
So amazing.
But the fact that I'm curious around, are you Ubering or driving?
I'm going to drive.
Okay. So your alter ego is not coming out.
No, Maxwell's not paying a visit today.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, I will see you later.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandalli@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Alli, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.